Greetings Earthlings, and welcome to SV Ad Astra. This is my 1965 Swedish-built Lauren coaster. If you're new to the channel, I encourage you to check out the first transmission, which details the work in the yard that I did about a year ago and what I've done since. I can see the rain now. It's way out there at the channel in the ICW. Yeah, this is going to be a very short-lived recording. I ducked inside because the rain has just started in earnest and wanted to cover a couple more things. One, I believe I have been grandfathered into the Bahamas old pay structure, which I already paid for. I took care of that back in February before this, that, and the other thing happened, which delayed me leaving. The other thing, I am still working on the electric drive from Thunderstruck. It has been 12 weeks. I think 12 weeks. It's been quite a bit, and 50-some emails back and forth. I just got the computer from them to reprogram the motor controller and the cable to do it. The cable doesn't work. So let me address the 35-day elephant in the room. I haven't posted a video in 35 plus days at this point. Part of that is I've been trying to work out the electric drive so that I could show you guys a completed and satisfying event. I want that experience for you guys to be somewhat free of the hassle and rigmarole that I go through. Since I've been sitting here in Fort Pierce on anchor, I've been doing as many projects as I could think of to make the boat have more range and be more comfortable to sail. So autopilot, water storage, painted decks for safety. With that, I did a lot of research and decided on a Raspberry Pi Pilot for my boat. One, it's upgradable, it's cheap, it's easy to replace the parts on, I can do the programming myself after I learn how to do it. So for the time being, I purchased one from Sean DePagnier. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in here. He's got a couple of videos out, but not very many. He managed to get all the way to New Zealand on his boat with one of these Pi Pilots. So that tells you that these things actually work. Raspberry Pi is a do-it-yourself programmable platform that you can make into its computer fundamentally, but it's a platform that you can turn into anything you need. A controller for a robot, controller for a motor or a skateboard, or in this case, an autopilot for a boat. And I'll show you the actuator a little later that does the pushing. It's no more than a glorified windshield washer from a truck. Parts are easy to replace. It's not like a mainstream autopilot where you're into the tune of $6,000 between the screen and all the other bits that go into it. If you walk into a West Marine and start looking at what you're going to spend to put an autopilot and a chart plotter in, you're into some serious cash. And I also don't really care to give what little money I do have to large corporations. So I bought Sean's version of this. There's a couple other people that use this sort of system, versions of a Raspberry Pi. And what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description of this video to Open Marine, the repository for all of the OpenCPN, Pi Pilot, and other free open source software and gear that you can use to operate a boat. Because the proliferation of do-it-yourself programming and computers that are cheap and accessible and open charts, there's lots of ways around this stuff. So I'm going to focus on using those because they fit what I want to be doing, and they also fit my budget better. So here we go. As with everything else inside of my boat, I had to build a cabinet just for this. In the center here, we've got the Pi Pilot, the computer, and on the left, we have the motor controller with a handy, flexible, 3D printed case and base. Now also in here we've got the circuit board that does all the controlling of the actuator out in the cockpit. And over here on the far right, we have the controller for the whole system. It actually works off of Wi-Fi. You can make it -10 degrees, +1 degree, and then change between modes. I am working on installing this linear actuator, which will operate off of a Pi Pilot, and I've got to sort out where it lives along this distance. Here's the total distance that the tiller handle can travel before running out of room and starting to damage things and hit stuff, which is great. So what I did is I made this tape template, this high-tech tape template, to represent the throw, or the distance this actuator will travel, to help me work out where to mount it so it'll push the tiller and pull it. So let's take a look at this and see where this is going to live. Knowing this is the center, this is the throw, and that's it. Something about like that, that's all I'm going to get. From here to here, which is actually fine. You are sailing in largely straight lines, straight-ish lines, and keeping your course over a great distance. So you're not making short turns. It's not like it has to go all the way over and then all the way back over this way. That sea state would be a nightmare. Nobody wants to be out in that. So, like this to this. So then that will inform where this lives. Something like that. Today is going to be another roasty and hot day here in South Florida. But before I take my afternoon lunch and chill down session, otherwise known as siesta, I'm going to install this linear actuator, which does the moving of the tiller to control the heading of the boat. The PiPilot determines the course of the boat. The motor controller determines how far it needs to move to adjust it, and changes the tiller heading on it. It's fairly straightforward in that regard. It's just this direction or that direction, port or starboard. So it's all electric. It does have 6 wires that I'll have to sort out. I am fairly certain that Sean sent it with the 2 wires that I need to use, but I'll sort that out. So I tried to make a neat line from here into here so it looked like there was a plan. I poured extra material on top of it so that will self-level, and I can come back and sand and fair that in so it looks like it's intended to be part of the combing. And as of this minute, I've got no leaks, so which is great. So that's, yeah, the scariest looking tape job ever, but it's my dam, it's my mold, that's how I'm making this. I'm here at my cockpit workbench. I am modifying a few pieces that I already had, and another piece that I purchased to accommodate the actuator arm for the autopilot. So the way this will be mounted will be something along these lines, with a handy dandy bolt through it like this. So I've got this one sorted out. I have the nylock nut for the very bottom, which is a very big, sturdy, heavy hex head stainless steel bolt, which is great. This is 304, but it's the best I could find, and I still had to modify the holy bejesus out of it with a grinder and files, and then clean it up as best as I could. So there's still some grinding marks, but I'm going to try to do a do-it-yourself passivation technique on it. We'll see how that works. So I've got to grind this down to 2 inches because accommodating for the bolt, the backing plate, which is this piece, overkill for it, but I've had it since I bought the boat. It was, I think it's a bill just hanging around, and I thought, one day I'll use that. Today's that day. So I've got to take about a ½ inch off this, and I clean up the edges, and then I can attempt to passivate this, and I'll be ready to drill the hole and assemble. So to check and make sure that this still works, yes, it should stop right there around that little white nylon spit. Yes, awesome. Doesn't even feel like it needs cleaned up with a file, which is lucky because usually I do. And that looks like this. So here we go. It'll go something like this. So since I cast this entire block, I'm going to call it a cat ear for these purposes, maybe a dog ear. Cat people, dog people, anyway. It's solid glass and epoxy, so there really is no concern with any moisture getting there and wrecking anything. I've already painted it and primed it, and you can see where the brush started breaking down because of the paint, and is now a nice little texture that I did not intend, but I'm going to go with it. So this will be good to go. I think I got very lucky on the bottom backing plate, as it was just sitting in my box of hardware for the last 7 or 8 years. So. I just want to get this started so I don't lose it overboard, because I don't really care to go hunting down another nut or fabricate another plate. Okay, so this. Righty-tighty, lefty-glissy. I just want to snug it at first because I need to get the alignment correct. So I am using a nylock nut. All right. There, I won't lose anything now the way it's set up, even if I get waked by the weekend warriors out here. Now, since the bracket is stainless steel and the housing for the actuator is aluminum with a powder coating on it, I am placing a very thin plastic washer between the two, so that as they will not wear against each other is the thought, and two, if they do, they won't corrode each other. That's at least the theory. All right, now it's actually time to put this thing in. I have to back out the bolt. Little finger gymnastics here. Hopefully I do not get waked. Through there just a little. Got it. Stiffer as you go up, stays right there. Awesome. Okay, so to test out the wiring before I bothered to run it, I thought it would be wise of me to go ahead and do a test fitting with these little temporary clamps. My friend Norm gave me these, and it's a good thing I did, because I found a fault. I found a spot where I more than likely messed up the wiring or didn't get something crimped quite right. I've got power from the panel to the motor controller block, but I don't have it past that point to the motor controller board itself. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm using my handy Fluke meter. This is the basic, the 101, but if you're going to do any wiring at all, it's pretty much invaluable. So I'm getting voltage to the Pi Pilot itself, but not the motor controller. So here we go, a simple continuity test to see if we've actually got it right. Okay, it's on the red. I'm gonna go up here. We should get a beep. Yes, beep. Yes, good. It's a good solid beep. And we're gonna check the negative as well, just to make sure. Good. Okay, so I apparently didn't record any of what I just said. So lovely. I want to be able to, if I'm in the cockpit and I need to adapt to some situation very quickly, be able to disconnect the tiller handle directly from this in short order. So I'll have to work, that's my next step, to work that out. For the time being, I just need to change these out, go ahead and put them in marine watertight connections, shrink wrap the whole thing, and drill some lovely hole back here to run everything through back to the control box. Okay, I just finished installing the wire that goes from the actuator back to the control box, and just sealed everything up. So by tomorrow this time, it will be completely water sealed. So yay, the actuator functions, it adjusts. I just have to have the boat under motor control so that I can calibrate the Pi Pilot. So yay, this looks like it's all working out just fine. My next task is to attach this end, the actuator, to the tiller in such a manner that I can pop it off like I mentioned before and remount it with a relative amount of ease. So yeah, I haven't even sorted that out yet, don't have an idea. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of thickened epoxy in that hole to make sure this stays in place. Just going to butter it up like this. I don't need much material at all. It just needs to hold it in there. I even consider busting out some Episteel, epoxy steel stuff, or 610, but I don't want to open up an entire tube of 6-pin just to do this. Alright, I'm going to push that in there. Some quantity of it is going to come out. I'm going to wipe that away and then tape it into place. So I'll end this transmission here, and if you'd like to know anything more about OpenCPN, OpenMarine, or the Raspberry Pi Pilot Autopilot, I will leave links in the description below this video. Also, I've added on Patreon, still free, and Odyssey, so hopefully you can find those ad-free if you can. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next transmission.